welcome to another episode of Thez Nutz Garage. It's been a while since I've made a video. We've been on vacation and doing some other things. So today what I'm going to try to do is start putting in my passenger side floor pan. Never done this before, so first time for everything. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to start trying to get the old pan out, but before I do that I want to put the new one in, make sure where I need to cut the old one out, to cut the new one to make sure everything fits good. There is a body mount I guess there, and I don't want to get into cutting a lot around that because I know that's probably welded into the underside of the truck. I don't have that much rust, so what I'm going to try to do is I may cut the floor pan back a little bit and weld it in so I don't have to start interfering with the original welds that hold the cab, that cab mount to the underside of that floor pan. So let me go over here and show you what I'm talking about. So here's the passenger side floor pan, and you can see that I have some rust holes here and here and here. All this is good on the outside edge, all this rocker panel. That's just a little surface rust I think I can clean up. As I go up inside the cab, it's pretty good all the way up in here. I would like to cut it out all the way up and around like that, but I think there is like a cab mount somewhere in here, and I'm thinking it's welded to the bottom of this, but I'm going to check it out and cut out what I need to. If I can cut out all the way up, I would like to do that just to replace this whole thing. But like I said, that's really the only spots is like right in here. But you want to make sure you get, since that's one solid piece, I don't want to patch anything and make the structure weaker, so I just want to replace as much of that pan as I can. So I'm going to get started on trying to investigate what I need to cut out and then set my new panel in and get it traced out and fitted or cut to fit. So let me get started on that and I'll be right back. So here's this cab mount right here, and you can see this is a bracket that it bolts to, and then back here it runs down the long side of the bottom of the floor pan that I'm wanting to replace, and you can see it kind of goes pretty far back on both sides. I guess it goes back to here, right there, sorry. So what I'm going to do is, like I said, I really don't want to get into cutting that out because I guess I could go through here and tack weld it back. I just don't want to make it more complicated than it has to be. So I'm going to jump in here and do some more measurements, but I just wanted to show you what I was talking about, the way that floor pan meets up with this cab mount. I don't know the technical term for that, but it's just a bracket, I guess. So let me get back to this and I'll report back shortly. All right, now here's the actual floor pan that is supposed to go in here, and I just have it setting in here right now. I've kind of determined about where this cab mount bracket and all that comes back to, and it looks like it's going off the new one. It's somewhere right in here. Like I said, my floor that's up here is good. It's just got surface rust on it, and what's back here has got holes in it. So I'm thinking about trying to keep from messing with the factory welds and all of that, is just cutting this floor pan across through here and up the side, and then cutting it all to fit here, and then it's not installing that part. I don't want to mess with those factory welds if I don't have to. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull this back up. I'm going to really get in here and hammer and try to test the metal and the floor up here to make sure it's all good, and if it is, then I want to, just like I said, I want to cut this part out and weld this in. So, but that is a floor pan, and you can see they're pretty big. So if you have a floor that's rotted out all the way up, this is a complete panel. I think this thing was like $69 at LMC or something like that. So not too expensive. So I'm gonna get to checking this out. Well, all right, I've inspected this, and I've used my inspection tool right here. And basically what I did is I just started beating on this rust. You know, I put a bigger hole in here. And then I got up here where I thought it might be soft, and it is. You can see a hole come in right there. This came through, so I'm gonna have to cut this whole panel out and replace it. It's better to be safe than sorry. That hammer's got a lot of weight to it, so as you're banging on this pretty good, if there's any weak spot in it, it's gonna penetrate. So the conclusion is, I guess I get to cut this whole thing out and install the new one. So I'm gonna get to work on that, and I'll check back. All right, I've laid this pan back in here, and they are not perfect by any means. You can see that this lip here is not like factory. So what I've done is I've gone in here and I've kind of scored kind of roughly where I need to trim this floor pan back to kind of get it to start fitting in here, just so then I can start tracing out where I need to cut the floor pan out in the floor. But one thing is this corner up here needs to be trimmed back, so that way looks like about an inch. You can see I've made a little mark. I need to cut that corner out so that way this pan will maybe fit back in here this way a little bit. But I don't want to cut off too much, because if you cut off too much, you can't add that back. So I'm probably going to take about a 1/2 inch off, then test fit it again and see if I can't get this whole side to line up through here, because that whole side is not really perfect to match the truck. So I got to get this side first, and then I can do this side to get it start trimming it to make it where it'll fit properly. Now I've got my pan cut to how I want it to fit, and then I've gone in here and I've traced outline all the way around the inside where the truck, so when I remove the pan, I know where the pan's laying. As I said, this is the first time I've ever done this, and I kind of made a little boo-boo. I cut my pan back a little too short right here, and there's a hole right there. So I do have some of this metal still left over, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to clean this up, and I'm going to weld a new little piece right here and to this. I hope it works out, but I do need to kind of cut this out and weld a piece down first, so that way this pan, I can weld it to it. So you can see the hole. Like I said, this is my first time, and you know, you learn as you go. So this is a little problem. I don't see nothing major in. I'll just have to weld another little piece in there, cut that out, and that'll be done. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to start cutting this floor pan out inside the truck. One thing about these pans is it is metal and it is sharp. So I've got a pair of gloves over here I've been using to handle this thing with, especially now since I've cut on it. So just be careful, and when you're grinding on this stuff, put eye protection on, and if you need to put ear-to-ear protection, that, and a good heavy pair of gloves, because this stuff will slice you open in a heartbeat. So just be careful when you're doing this stuff. And I'm going to get started on this, and I'll be back. Now that I've removed the pan, before I go cutting out, you'll see now that I have two lines. This top line was where my pan, top of the pan sat. This is about an inch down. You want to cut about an inch down all the way around where you're removing this pan. So that way, when you set your pan down in here, your pan will overlap this part, the top part of your pan will overlap it. And this gives you a place to weld to and have a place that this pan fits down into and doesn't just fall through the floor when you're trying to weld it in. What y'all need to do is once I get this cut out, I'll go in here and I'll clean all this up, grind it down, make it all shiny metal, clean the back side of my pan, and then that'll let me start welding it in. But you don't want to cut out exactly where your pan, top of your pan was, because then you're just going to fight with it. So I always leave that inch gap, and as you can tell, I'm trying to clean some of this up so I can start removing all of this. So back at it I go. Alrighty, I finally got this pan out, and here's this bracket that goes to the body mount bolt right there. And that's how you access it, is from the outside, is take off that access panel, we put in a ratchet and whatever and remove it. It had some spot welds. It had 3 spot welds up here, some spot welds up here, I don't know, 3 or 4 down through here on each side, and then some across the bottom. Also has some spot welds over here. I guess you could get a spot weld remover tool. I've seen some people using those and they kind of break quite a bit. Or you can just get a drill bit, drill through the first outer layer, is what I did. And of course you can see kind of where it recessed back down in there. I don't know yet how I'm going to attach this piece. I may, when I roll this cab back, I may actually drill some holes and put some small bolts through this part here and then across the bottom and then here and maybe some up here on each side. Got a little pet birdie in here. He done made him a nest over there. So anyway, little bird trying to feed the, yeah, there's a little baby bird in there. There's a little mouth out. Anyway, now I'm fixing to just clean up this outside edge and clean up this side over here. Try to get this pan in here, because once I get this pan in this truck welded in, what I'm going to be able to do is roll this cab backwards and be able to sand blast or media blast the bottom side of it. Probably I may go through here and spot weld these outside edges to the bottom of the cab. I may let it ride at that, but then I'll be able to get it PRO 15 on the bottom, and then get some truck bed liner put on the bottom. I'm thinking about, what I'm thinking about now is cleaning this up, kinda, because I'll never be able to access the inside of that again. Putting some primer on it, heavy duty primer, and letting it go. Maybe throw some paint on it like I did my radiator support. But since I've got this, I probably should do that. So before I weld this pan in, I do think I'm going to go ahead and put some primer on that. But I'm going to start cleaning it all up and let this bird feed her little baby over there. And hopefully this little baby gets grown and gets out of here before I roll this cab back and make that little bird upset. But I'm going to get on to that, and I'll talk at you later. So now I've cleaned up this panel here, bracket, body, cab, bracket, whatever they want to call it. Only thing I really did is I just put some purple power on it. Had a sponge with a abrasive side and scrubbed on it a minute. And then I just rinsed it off. I let it dry. Then I put some rust reformer on it, because it did have some of that brown rust still on it. So I put some rust reformer on it. Let it dry. Now I've just put some gloss black paint on it. Like I said, you're never going to see the inside of this, but at least I know I have covered it with something to try to help keep it from rusting anymore. So that's that. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to try to sit this panel in here and start welding it in. I have kind of decided to put a couple of sheet metal screws through the floor pan to catch this side, and one up here, and then the same thing on the other side, so that way I can get this bracket fixed in a position so when I roll this cab back, and what I'm going to do is spot weld the outer edge all the way down where I can. That way it's firm until I can get it welded. That's kind of floating around, and I don't want it to move once I undo that bolt and roll this cab back. It may twist or do something like that, and I'm hoping by putting some sheet metal screws in it, it'll hold it so I can get it welded from the bottom side. I probably could lay on my back and tack weld some on this side. This side's going to be a pain because of the frame, so I'm just going to put some screws in it, and then when I roll it back, I'll finish it up welding it. So now I'm going to get to working on the pan, and see you here in a minute. Alright, back again, and I've got the pan kind of laid in here. I haven't started welding anything yet. As you can see, I have these little holes that I've drilled through the floor pan, and what I'm going to try to do is simulate like spot welding through, push that down, and try to see if I can get that to hold and weld through it like a spot weld up this side and then up at the top. But I'm going to first start down at the bottom. I'm going to hit this side first, try to get this outside edge lined up, and then I'm going to work my way around this way, tacking it in, because this seems like it's going to be the kind of spot that I'm going to have to start in the back and then work my way towards the front, and then I'll go across the front, and then I have this gap right here. I'm going to have to close that up, probably from the outside. I cut a little bit of that off, and probably what I should have done was left a little lip here and then laid this panel over the top of it. I didn't think about it. Like I said, this is my first time, so I'll fix it. It's just I should have planned that out just a little bit better. Like I said, I should have made a lip, cut that back through here, so then I could have laid this pan on top of it. So I'm going to get to doing this, and I'll let you check back here in a minute and see how I'm going. Well, I've got this floor pan in, and yes, my welds do suck. Like I said, this is the first time I've ever done something like this. I am working with this little Harbor Freight job here, so I'm kind of teaching myself as I go. Some things are working out as I'm doing it. It's getting a little better. This kind of over here is kind of iffy, but it's holding. So what I'm going to do is when I roll the cab over, I'm also going to kind of tack weld it from the bottom side in places. But that's in there. It's pretty stout. I didn't put the screws in here to keep it down just yet. I'll probably do that next time I go working on it. It's getting late, and I got to pick up all my mess. So turned out pretty decent. So as you can tell, I'm done for today. I'm hot, sweaty. Been a long day fooling with this. If you like the videos, like them. If you haven't subscribed to our page, our channel, do that. If you got any tips, especially on welding, anything else, put them in the link in the comment section. I'll try to get back and answer them to them as soon as I can. Thanks for watching, and y'all have a blessed day.